Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm super excited on this Wednesday to go live and to just chat with you guys. So, as you're popping in, let me know that you're here. We're going to go ahead and get started because I know that most of you guys will watch this on the replay. So, feel free to leave #replay, any comments, questions you have, etc., etc. Y'all know the drill. First, I want to say welcome to our new members. Welcome so much to the Black Girl Coach Collective. We are a community of women who are leveling up in our coaching business so that we can have an impact on this world. We are no longer settling for expensive hobbies. That's not what we're out here doing. We are going to harness the power of our unique story in order to have that impact and affect change on our clients to help get them that transformation. So welcome. Super excited to have you here. So I want to say welcome to Tayana, Jasmine, Faye, Alana, and Cynthia. Welcome. Okay. If you guys are joining me, just let me know that you're here. Grant Ecamm Live permission to see your name. It truly is just that. It's just so that I can actually see who's talking to me in these lives. It's completely up to you, but it really is like safe to do so. Okay, guys. So let's get into it today. So this live was inspired by one of our new members, Tiana. I hope I'm saying it. It might be Tiana. It might be Tiana. So hey girl, hey, when you get in here, let me know how to say your name because I want to make sure I'm saying your name the way your mama named you or whomever named you. So Tayana, when she was joining, the welcome question asked, what specific questions do you have about starting a coaching business? And her specific question was related to how can I, as a coach, use my story to help others to transform when I'm still writing that story. And I was like, oh, that is so good. And so I'm going to address that in this live, but I also want to address like the bigger picture and just let you guys know, like just as a source of encouragement for you, that if you are starting out as a new coach, you are not starting from scratch. So I was actually speaking to someone in my community, actually a gentleman in my community, who is a former athlete and is amazing and has been able to translate his athletic experience into the work that he currently does and had an idea for helping other athletes transition out of the sport that they're coming from and into new roles, and how to give them the tools, the resources, and the mindset work to be able to do that. And so he has been wanting to do this for some time and was feeling stuck. And he was actually researching a lot. So tell me if this sounds familiar. Reading all the books, listening to all the podcasts, taking all the courses. So in consumption mode, right? And he's trying to figure out what framework to use to do this coaching. Because he's thinking, okay, is this related to like an educational framework? Is this related to like critical race theory? He's like literally pulling his hair out, trying to make the way he wanted to coach fit into an already established framework. So we were chatting the other day and I was speaking to him about how I started my coaching business. And he's like, well, how did you pull it all together? Like, how did you know how to coach, what to coach about, etc.? I was like, I used my story and I developed my own framework, my own intellectual property, and that's how I coach. Y'all, when I say he literally started like shaking, he was like, so you mean to tell me, I have been spending all of this time researching and reading and consuming and and I was going to get this certification and that certification and do all the things when really all I needed to do was use my story and use that to develop my own coaching framework. And I was like, 100%. That's what you do. And he was just like, he literally said, you changed my life. You have freed me. Now I'm so excited. I can't wait to get started and do this and like start changing the lives of others. And that brought me so much joy. This is not a client or anything. He's actually a friend, but he listens to the podcast and he's wanted to, start a coaching business. So he found it really helpful to getting out of his own way. And so it really brought me a lot of joy to be able to like release him in that way of like, no, you can do this. Like you actually already have every single thing that you need. But it made me think and realize that I wanted to come on here and talk about that, especially when I saw the question from Tiana about, like, how do I use my story? You have everything you need. Whenever you're watching this, type that in the chat. Say, I have everything I need to start coaching. I have everything I need. This is a quick aside. Two quick asides. Let's hope I remember them because lately the memory has been a little bit. So whenever I go on these tangents, like sometimes I forget the tangent I'm going on, but they're usually really like good tangents. So I'm like trying to stick with them. What was the tangent? Lord have mercy. I can't. Oh, I remember. Oh my gosh, y'all. Okay, so number one, the reason I knew to do that was because of coaching. That did not come. I am the type of person, because I'm a procrastinator. Y'all know my story, which I'm actually going to do a whole like welcome video on my story because we're getting lots of new members into the group every week and everyone might not be familiar with my story and how I got to this point. And so I want to share that with you guys. But yeah, I had a coach and my coach helped coach me through this process. So that's number one. Number two, I have had people in the entrepreneurship space, colleagues, not really like peers, like coaching peers, and mentors who have said to me that I should stop the type of coaching I'm doing because why do you want to help like people who are just getting started? They don't have like the knowledge and sometimes even the money to invest, like all of this stuff. And I refuse to entertain that as an option because I love helping people get unstuck. That is what I do. I help people get unstuck. And so, yes, there are specific challenges when you're coaching folks who are just like getting things going, but it brings me joy and I'm never going to stop doing it. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that sometimes we coaches, we don't get it right? So I've been told to like, why don't you need to talk to entrepreneurs who are already doing stuff and like help them do more. And I was like, well, I do that also. I help people get out of their own way, but I love helping a brand new entrepreneur get their start and start something, like literally the creative process of building something from nothing is what brings me joy. I believe that's why I was placed here. And so business coach, productivity coach, it's all about helping people get unstuck and start. So if you follow me on Instagram, which you should, by the way, productive_on_purpose, I call myself a start coach over there. And that's really what I am. Like my goal, whether I was talking about procrastination or other things, has always been to help people start. So no worries there. Now, in the future, will I have offerings that help people at different levels? Sure. Right. And I do like different levels of like, if you are doing something, but you're not quite like, seeing the impact or the return that you want. My my program that helps you go from community to clients, right? But it's still starting. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there. I'm not going anywhere. I'm always going to be the coach or the mentor. And it kind of goes back to we kind of had this question, this conversation last week with Brandy of like who helps the people that are like kind of just getting started. It's like that. I want that to be me always. Like yes, I'll help you also level up, but there will always be a place for like newbies, beginners, people who are like, entrepreneurs in name, but not actually having an income. I want to help you have an income, be an entrepreneur, walk in your purpose. It's always been about purpose. So anyway, so the freedom that he received in that moment, he was like, I am ready right now to go and just like start. And I was like, yes, start, right? But like the key is just recognizing that you're not starting from scratch. You're not. And I want to convince you, because the women in my community, all of you guys are high achieving professional women, whether you be a doctor, a lawyer, a therapist, a nurse, whatever you're in corporate America in some way. You are not starting from scratch. It feels that way, right? Like it feels like, oh, I'm just kind of building something out of nothing. And one of my current coaching clients mentioned that last week in our Purpose to Profit session. She said she felt kind of released from feeling like, oh, I have to like build something out of nothing. You are not. And I want to convince you of that today. I want to convince you that none of this is starting from scratch. In fact, all of your life experiences, all of your story, all of your corporate experiences as well are what is going to make you into a coach that allows you to achieve full transformation for your clients. And so the first thing that was like kind of my first point, right? You're qualified to coach. I'm going to say that again. You are qualified to coach. Can you get additional certifications and this and that? And yes, right? But often I find that is a way for our unconscious mind, like that's seeking a validation from external sources is a way from our unconscious mind. Y'all know I call her your inner cave woman that's trying to keep you in the cave of procrastination, trying to keep you safe from lions and tigers and bears, i.e. failure, outside of the cave. Often that is a way, like that seeking, right? Constant seeking, constant consumption mode is a way to keep you safe and keep you inside the cave of procrastination, lest you walk out and potentially get eaten by the lion, the tiger, or bear, i.e., lest no one say yes to your program, lest no one listen to your podcast, lest no one purchase your course, like all of the things. And so I just want to like inspire you. And like, y'all know I'm about like real strategies too. So we're getting there, right? We're getting there. Because I always say I'm not here just to inspire you. I'm here to like get you into action, into motion. But I do wanna affirm you and say you are qualified. You are qualified already because you have a story, you have a background, and you have not only just that, you have schooling and expertise. Like you have gone to college for at least 4 years, right? Most likely. Plus, most of the women in my community have done additional schooling, at least 2 to 4 more years, especially for my physicians out there, plus additional training, plus certifications. Like where is this like this notion of I'm not ready, I'm not qualified, I need to be knighted, I need someone to tell me. Like it's coming from the pit of hell, frankly, and your inner cave woman who is just trying to keep you safe. So I get it, but I want to empower you that you are qualified. You can do this. You can do this. Many of you guys are coaching already for free, right? Like that niece that you're coaching, or that friend that you spend hours on the phone with, like walking them through point A to point B, your patients that you work with, like your colleagues, co-workers, everyone's coming to you to, like, we are often, as women, especially as Black women, we are often the coach for others, like by default, right? And so what I'm saying to you now is, how about we just start, like, we just throw some like monetization on what we're already doing. You're already an expert, right? You're killing it in the boardroom. You're killing it in your practice, in your office, or in the operating room, or wherever you work. Like, you're already having an impact, and it's just combining your story and how you have transformed your life or the life of others to be able to show up and give people the steps to take a transformation of their own, to make a transformation of their own. And we've talked about this before in terms of, professional coaches, like in the like sports realm, right? Many of them may have played in the, like, if they're a basketball coach, they may have played as a basketball, like, athlete or star or whatever, rarely, and often for very short periods of time, right? And so they know that they have a skill set and a unique way to help other people get into motion and to help usher someone through their journey. And so I just want to empower you. I really, really want to empower you. You can do this. You likely are already doing it. And so it's just a matter of saying, I value my time and my expertise, and I'm going to collect payment for the work I'm already doing, right? On my own terms. So I just want to throw that out there. So when I was speaking to the gentleman and I was telling him about how he can take his background, his story, because there's a very powerful story, take that. Oh, thank you for the hearts. I see it. Say hi. I want to know who's here. And so how you can take your story and then also the expertise that he has gained on his job in his career and package that. Like, that was really the freedom, right? Like, that's what really gave him the freedom to say, okay, like, I can do this. And there may be a wealth of different ways that you can, hey girl, hey, hey Sia. There could be a wealth of different ways that you can show up, right? So one of my clients, Dr. Faye, in fact, she posted today about how she has children with ADHD and autism, and she has ADHD and autism as well, that was diagnosed later in life. And she wants to help others be able to thrive and live an abundant life with these diagnoses, right? Being able to navigate the system, which is very challenging, can be very challenging. And she has been able to successfully do that. And so we're working together to develop that for her. And so it that's one example. I have another client who is helping to develop what she calls menopause moguls, right? So there's this notion which you guys have, because I'm like on the brink of that. Just turned 39 last week. So y'all saw me on my birthday. And these like brain farts that I'm having, she tells me, she's like, that means you're probably going to go through menopause soon. I'm like, okay, girl, but it's probably true. So she's helping to develop menopause moguls. So she is helping to empower women who are going through this change in their life to harness their greatness, to harness the power of that change so that they can level up in their career and in their business, overcome like symptoms that might be holding them back, and recognize that there's power in menopause. There's power in that time of life, that it's a reinvention, it's a reawakening. And that's based on her personal experience and also her professional expertise as an OB-GYN. And so again, for you, there is, and I want you guys to sit down whenever you're watching this, and if you haven't already like figured out like, what do I want to coach on, or how do I coach, like sit down and think about, okay, where do I shine? What is my we talked about what's in your hand, right? In terms of Moses, and Moses being like, I can't do this, and God's like, what did I already give you? What's in your hand, right? Like taking that and just brainstorming, just spending some time reflecting on it. If you're a physician, again, you're coaching all day long, all day. I'm a pediatrician. We are coaching parents of kids. You know how hard that is? That is hard, right? But we do it. We do it all the time. If you're an engineer, you are someone that is intimately aware of like systems and processes, right? If you're in healthcare in another way, there are specific ways that you understand disease. Maybe you've walked through like healing on your own and you can help someone else. If you're in social work, like my goodness, like y'all, like this is your profession, right? If you're in corporate America, you understand corporations. You understand how a corporation is supposed to run. Like, how can you take your expertise and package that for someone else? Recognize and figure out the problem that they have that you uniquely can solve, right? So that's the way it's done. And then the what is based largely on your story. Just like I gave you the background, Dr. Faye, and my other client. For me, right, when I started out as a coach, helping people get unstuck and stop procrastinating, that was based on my own experience as a procrastinator who like could not even wake up in the morning, right? And so it's based on your story, but like, you've got this. There's a lawyer on YouTube. Her name is Tasha. I know her channel is One Big Happy Life, so definitely check her out because she's amazing. So she works in a law firm, and she would do finance law, government finance law. And when she started her business, she took her knowledge of finance law and like personal finance and crafted that into a business where she coaches professional couples on their finances, right? On their personal finances, helping them to understand how they can build wealth. Right? And it's all based on the experiences that she had in her work, in her line of work, but then also her personal story of being a two-lawyer household with a high income and also a really, really high negative net worth. How they were able to spin that, pay down some debt and start their businesses. And now they have a positive net worth and they help other professional couples to do the same. It's based on her expertise, her experience, and then also her story. And she put those together and now she has this thriving business. So are y'all like getting what I'm saying? Like it is a trick of the enemy. Like I'm just like not here for Satan and his shenanigans lately, like making us feel like we are not worthy, or that we have to get like knighted in some way, or have someone tell us like, oh yes, now you're able, now you're worthy to do this. Like nah. You don't need any extra like letters behind your name. You really don't. You need your story, your expertise, and your experience, right? And so I just wanted to share that with you guys, and to directly answer Tayana's question of like, how do you share your story while you're still in it. I'm still in my story. In fact, I'm about to record next week's podcast episode, which will be my quarter one review. So every quarter, if you've listened to the podcast, if you haven't, definitely check it out. Productive on Purpose. Just search for it in any of your podcast players. But I am doing an episode about my quarter one review. So every quarter I give a review of like how things are going with the podcast, with my business, etc. And what I'm doing is I'm sharing the story while I'm still in it. Like, take your community along the ride with you, because honestly, our stories never really end, right? And so you get your tribe. Like, the way you build your tribe is to show people like the highs and the lows, and to get people like behind the scenes access to you as the coach and as the leader of your community. And so I still do. That's why I do my quarterly reviews, because I want you guys to really know and understand and have insight into like the real deal, real raw behind the scenes of what it's like to be a full-time physician, professor, wife, mom, and new entrepreneur, fairly new, in the entrepreneurial world. I'm new, right? And so I want you guys to see that, right? And it helps to build connection with your community. It helps to build relationships. It helps people to see you vulnerable. Like, no one wants to cheer for a superhero who has no flaws. Every single superhero in every single what do they call them, comic book, etc. I don't really watch like Marvel. I watched like Black Panther, and that's it. I tried to watch a couple others, and I was just like lost and confused. But I used to pay attention to comics more when I was younger. And something I've noticed is that every single superhero has a flaw, like a fatal flaw or a characteristic, like, or trait about them that like grants them that like humanity. And that's how you get your community to like root for you and feel like they're a part of your team, because you become relatable, and because we all have flaws. We all have things that, ways we hold ourselves back, or ways we slip, and it's a journey, it's a process. And so projecting this notion of perfection in and of itself is dangerous. You guys know I talk about that all the time, because we can't be perfect, so it's really procrastination. But it also really hinders us from making that true connection with our community, because then like it just kind of, you end up, and I've talked about this before, you end up generating a community who special unicorns you. They make you into a special unicorn. Oh well, of course Dr. Kimmy, like, of course she like is super productive because she's her. I could never do that, right? That's not what you want. You want your community to see you as a full and whole human being. So when I show my flaws and I show how I failed, right, it gives other people permission to take those messy first steps as well. So that, Tayana, whenever you watch this, and I'll tag you in this so you can see it, that's how you share your story. Like, that's how you can use your story as a coach while you're still in it, because we're all still in our story. And I honestly truly believe that we should all be sharing our vulnerabilities with our community, because that's how you truly build community. That is how you truly build community. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know that you watched, that you were here. So much goodness in store. And so if you guys know any coaches or aspiring coaches who want to learn the steps to building a profitable business, invite them in. invite them into the group. I'd love to have them here. I would love to, continue to grow this community and make this community into what you need it to be. And so please feel free to leave any questions that you may have. I'm going to be, like I said, talking about the journey that I've been experiencing recently, especially in the past month of having the most profitable month in my business, a 5-figure month. That is like, I want to really show you guys that this is possible, that I also was one of those coaches that would hear other coaches say that. And I come from a place of abundance in this season. And so it allowed me to say, like, I know I can do that too. I just didn't know when. I was like, when is this going to happen? Right. So it's truly a blessing. And I want you guys to know that this is available to you. And I want you guys to just start, moving out. And maybe I'll do a whole video on this, moving from consumption to creation. Recognizing that you have what you need. You already have everything you need to not just get started, but to build a thriving and profitable business as God has intended for us. You are purposed to profit. Like, this is what God wants from us. We serve an abundant God. And so we are purposed, and we can stand in that truth and stand in that authenticity, and with authenticity, and still make the impact that we want to make as coaches in this world. And yeah, I just want to help give you guys permission to do that, to show up in excellence, not perfection, and to really empower you guys that you guys can do this. All right, y'all. I hope this was helpful. Like I said, I will catch you guys next time, and I will talk to you soon. Peace and love.